Alright, so this is a very late review, but it's been 2 weeks since I watched Beetlejuice Beetlejuice in theaters. It was my first movie I've ever watched on opening night. What were my thoughts? Well, let's turn up the juice and see what shakes loose. For those who don't know, Beetlejuice was a horror comedy from 1988 directed by Tim Burton. The plot was about Adam and Barbara Maitland, played by Alec Baldwin, best known as such classic roles as Mr. Conductor in Thomas and the Magic Railroad and The Boss Baby. And Gina Davis, known for her role in David Cronenberg's The Fly, who died after a fatal car accident. They soon realized that their house is being renovated by the Dietzes, Kevin's mom from Home Alone, a local pedo, and Hot Topic inspiration Lydia Dietz, played by soon-to-be Joyce Byers. In order for Adam and Barbara to make the Dietzes leave, they call upon this goofy-ass boy, Beetlejuice. A wacky, goofy, funny, gross, creepy, perverted, foul-mouthed, ball-honking, shirt-spitting, upskirting, nightmare-fueling, minor-marrying ghost with the most. And yet, he only appears 17 minutes of the movie. And he only wears his iconic striped suit for like 2 or 3 minutes. Talk about a letdown. Anyways, this movie has so many iconic moments and lines that not only made it into pop culture, but also made Tim Burton a household name. And then he made Alice in Poo Poo Land and Charlie in the Fecal Factory. Beetlejuice ran into pop culture so fast that there were so many things made for the movie. Clothes, music albums, video games. The NES game is the only time I'll ever hate Beetlejuice. Toys, I bought these recently. Collectibles, plushies, Funko Pops. Its own Fanta flavor. We'll get back to that later. And some more major things that I also want to talk about. After the success of the movie, ABC greenlit an animated series. Because of course they'd make a children's show about a dirty ghost who screams the fuck word and honks his beetle balls. Obviously, they changed things to be more kid-friendly, such as getting rid of Adam and Barbara, making Beetlejuice, voiced by Steve Ouimet, more of a scam artist trickster than a perverted demon, making Lydia, voiced by Allison Court, and BJ best friends, and adding new characters such as a tap-dancing spider, a mix between Yosemite Sam and Gossamer, a sentient car made in a lab, and Papyrus, but he's French. The cartoon had its own success as well, such as having a kick-ass opening scored by Danny Elfman, one of the best of all time, I think, winning an award for Best Daytime TV Show, and getting almost 100 episodes in its 3-year and 4-season run from 1989 to 1991. The final most notable thing to talk about before the meat of this review is the Beetlejuice Broadway musical from 2019. This would be one of the most popular Broadway musicals ever created, next to Spingebill. And just like the animated series, this variation of the story is a mishmash of both worlds. Beetlejuice is still gross and perverted, but he's also goofy and fun. Also queer-coded, apparently. And while the original was already pushing the PG rating, this musical is jam-packed with sexual and adult jokes to subvert your expectations. Beetlejuice says the fuck word way more times than the original. Speaking of Beetlejuice, he's played by Alex Brightman this time around. That's right, Fizzarolli from Hell of a Boss. His role as Beetlejuice was so iconic that it put him into stardom. He even voiced Beetlejuice in the Teen Titans Go crossover episode. Unfortunately, the Beetlejuice musical was closed after 4 years of performing, thanks to the big bad bovid by Teen, and we were afraid we'd never see the ghost with the most ever again. Until now. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the reason of this video. My spoilery breakdown, plot synopsis, and review of Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. This will be all my thoughts, feelings, and other things that make me feel the way I do about this movie, as well as summarizing the entire movie. So let's begin. Also, before I sat down at the theater, I got a Beetlejuice Haunted Apple Fanta Icy. And it was amazing. I love the taste of it so much. It's like, when you first taste it, it tastes apple-y, and then the aftertaste is caramel, which is great. Anyways, where were we? The movie starts with Lydia, who's in her early 50s, hosting her new TV show, Ghost House, which is an homage to what the Beetlejuice movie was originally going to be named before it was changed. Not many people know that. Anyways, she hosts her show, which is pretty much like your average ghost hunter type show. They go into a haunted house and try to communicate with a specter. But during an interview with the homeowner, Lydia has a panic attack as she sees Beetlejuice in the audience. Apparently, she's a pill popper, and is trying to forget her past experiences. Meanwhile, her boyfriend Rory is trying to help her through her trauma. Then she gets a call from her mom Delia, who announces that Charles, Jeffrey Jones the pedo, we talked about that earlier, he fucking died. But the plane crash didn't kill him. A shark bit his head off. The whole thing is told via stop-motion flashback. So Lydia and Delia pick up Astrid, Jenna Ortega, Lydia's daughter, from college, so they can have a mourning party and a funeral back in Winter River. Meanwhile, our boy Beetlejuice is back and somehow the manager of his own office. What happened to Juno from the first movie? I honestly don't think that was explained. Anyways, then we meet Dolores, played by Monica Bellucci, and, my god, I guess I gotta type. She kills a Danny DeVito janitor, even though he's already dead, by sucking his soul out, leaving him an empty husk. Then a cop, played by the Green Goblin, comes in and asks Beetlejuice about Dolores. That's how we get the backstory of how Beetlejuice died and met Dolores, en Espanol. Basically, during the Black Plague, Beetlejuice met Dolores and they immediately got married. Unbeknownst to BJ, Dolores was a soul-sucking witch and poisoned Beetlejuice. But before he died from the poison, he killed Dolores by chopping her body up, and now she's back for revenge on Beetlejuice, sucking any soul that stands in her way. During that debacle, during Charles's funeral, Rory proposes to Lydia out of nowhere for no reason or build-up. Lydia is obviously uncomfortable, but says yes to not make a scene. Astrid gets pissed and leaves, running into a treehouse with her bike, where she meets a boy named Jeremy. He seems like your average, quirky, tall love interest guy, but we'll get back to him later. Lydia realizes BJ is back, and Rory thinks Lydia is acting crazy, so he summons Beetlejuice to quote-unquote help her face her fears. They go into a marriage counseling room where Beetlejuice is waiting. He does some random shit like literally spilling his guts, makes Lydia a DeviantArt pregnancy fetish, and birth creepy beetle baby that proceeds to literally be an ankle biter. They leave to prepare for the wedding, and obviously Lydia's traumatized again. Astrid learns Jeremy is a ghost, and he tells her that he knows a way to be alive again. Then Lydia finds out from the old house realtor that Jeremy died years ago after killing his parents and breaking his neck from falling out of his treehouse. And Jeremy's plan is to trade places with Astrid so she'll be dead. So in a fit of desperation, Lydia summons BJ to help save Astrid. In return, Lydia has to marry him. Again. So they go off to the Netherworld to look for Astrid, and when you thought it was too late, BJ tricks Jeremy and sends him to hell while saying the only uncensored fuck word in the movie. Also, Lydia and Astrid reunite with their dead husband/dad, who died in a fatal jungle expedition to piranhas, who narrowly saves them from the sandworm and helps them escape the Netherworld. Lydia and Astrid share a heartfelt moment and get ready for Lydia's hollow wedding. Meanwhile, Delia is trying to communicate with Charles from beyond the grave, who I forgot to mention is wandering around the Netherworld headless with blood squirting out of his exposed spinal cord. Delia bought asps that supposedly were defanged, but she got scammed and they immediately kill her. Ironic that both Charles and Delia die from getting bitten by a hostile animal. But before the wedding can happen, Beetlejuice comes in and injects Rory with truth serum, revealing him, not surprisingly, to be a dick who is just marrying Lydia for the money. Lydia punches Rory in the face, rightfully, in response. Then, after sucking a bunch of internet influencers into their devices, we get the greatest fucking moment in the movie, and probably in Beetlejuice history. There's a wedding dance with Beetlejuice and Lydia, mixing the original wedding scene and the Deo scene from the first movie. As Beetlejuice makes all the characters in the room sing MacArthur Park, along with choreography. When I first saw this scene in the movie, I immediately thought to myself, this is the best movie of 2024. No contest. What makes this scene even more ironic is that it's about a messy divorce. I could go on and gush about this whole song number, but I have to get back to the synopsis. The rest of the plot points crash the wedding with the Netherworld police surrounding the place. Then Dolores comes in, and then the fucking sandworm comes in. And so BJ dresses up as a bullfighter and makes the sandworm eat both Dolores and Rory. And apparently, since it's illegal to bring a human into the Netherworld, Beetlejuice's marriage contract is null and void. So Lydia sends Beetlejuice back by saying his name 3 times, which inflates him. Tim, be real, my man. Do you have something to tell us? I mean, I have nothing against it, but damn, way to be subtle. And he explodes. The cops go back to the Netherworld with Delia, then she and Charles ride the Soul Train together, a literal pun straight out of the cartoon where it's literally a train that plays Disco Soul, and thus the movie ends with Astrid meeting a boy at a Dracula Castle attraction, they get married, and they have a baby. A fucking beetle baby! But it was a nightmare. Or was it? The ending shows that Beetlejuice is never gonna leave, and he's probably gonna hang around for a while, like he does in the cartoon. And that was Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. My god, I absolutely loved this movie. It got things I already loved from the original, quirky dark comedy, some scary moments, some memorable characters returning into their respective roles, along with things I wish the original had more of, such as more violence, more chaos, and of course, more Beetlejuice. Everyone did great in this movie. Some standouts in the acting department were Catherine O'Hara, who was even funnier than she was in the original, Michael Keaton, who despite his age, somehow can pull off the title character without faults, and Jenna Ortega, who is still a great actor. I loved her in Wednesday and Scream 5, and she's also great as Astrid. I love some of the gags and special effects as well. The Beetle Baby was comedy gold. No wonder NECA made a $127 replica of this cute little bastard. The whole joke that this movie absolutely despises Jeffrey Jones because of obvious reasons is great. And like I said, the MacArthur Park scene is probably even better than both the Deo scene and Jump in the Line combined. Also, Danny Elfman's scoring is just as good as it was 30 years ago. I love it. Would I say this movie is better than the original? In some ways, yes. More Beetlejuice, more jokes, more creepy shit, and just more atmosphere. But I do have a couple small gripes. These don't ruin the movie in any way for me. I just feel like these could have been dealt with better. My first gripe is that Jeremy doesn't really feel that needed in this movie. He's kind of a dumb character, and while his comeuppance is satisfying enough, I think he was just there to give Astrid something to do. My second gripe is, I wish this movie had a lot more of Dolores and Willem Dafoe cop. They're both really cool characters. Dolores' whole opening scene where she staples herself together is awesome. There's also a callback to the original where she also has her ring finger, which was in the wedding scene, and the Willem Dafoe cop was comedy gold. I love the scene where he interrogates BJ and BJ calls him out for being dumb because the cop didn't know he was given a real grenade. The third gripe was the explanation about Adam and Barbara's absence in the movie. It's said that they found a loophole. I have no clue what that means. Maybe the loophole was that they survived the exorcism from the first movie, so they're classified as living, but still have their ghost powers, so they left? It's super confusing, but it's fine. But aside from these three gripes, the movie was fucking amazing, quirky, creepy, dark, funny, atmospheric, and beautifully crafted. The runtime was perfect. The acting was great. BJ is still perfect even if the actor is super old. And honestly, just like the Broadway musical, this movie feels like a mix between the original movie and the animated series, which I love. I'm glad I saw this movie, and I can't wait to own it on DVD. Beetlejuice Beetlejuice is a 10 out of 10. Man, I'm out of breath. I've never done a video essay like this before, so I have a feeling it will be a while for me to edit this whole thing together. Anyways, thanks for watching this video. Like and subscribe, because it really helps me out. I'm trying to raise money so that I can make a living and also enroll to college, and your views really help me out, so thank you. And also tell me what you guys thought about this movie in the comment section. If you want to see some of my other content, check out my animated pilot Slasher High, link in the description. And I hope to make more content soon. Good night, everybody.